Hello everyone from me and this chap. So I had a very exciting little delivery this morning. Oh, you're so tired. Which is dun 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 author copies. Ooh, look, special effects and everything. What is it? What is it? Do you like it? Do you like it? Is it good? Yeah, good. So Gothghul Hollow, my first Warhammer horror novel. The goth in Gothghul is very pertinent. This is a supremely gothic horror novel. I have even mentioned Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee in the acknowledgements because I had them in mind. I sort of channeled them quite a lot in some of their most famous British horror films, as playing Tiberius Grimm and Eric Gothghul respectively. So if you pick up the book and you give it a read, bear them in mind, bear those faces in mind. And also I would just like to point out, Black Library knocking it out of the park. Purple! Look at that! Amazing! So take it from me, it smells really good as well. And I'm even going to read you the first page because the dog's gone to sleep and, you know, no one cares about anything but the dog on this, obviously. But here we go. Chapter 1 of Part 1, The Eyes. Chapter 1. Glowing red eyes, they say, and huge. It's as big as a man, with teeth as long as your palm. It's the curse of Null Island returned. Oscar shivered, though his face was lit with fascinated horror, as well as the weak realm light filtering through the darkening clouds. It would rain again soon, and Gothghul Hollow's market would empty of patrons. Peter scoffed at his fellow trader's words and rearranged his display of protective charms into a more pleasing configuration. It's a mere spirit hound, nothing more. Hunters and priests will do for it, you mark my words. And that curse is idle gossip. Now let's talk about something else before we frighten off any more customers. He smiled for the two women approaching his stall and stepped aside so they could see the black velvet cloth and the talismans arrayed upon it. New protection amulets for your homes, gentlewomen, guaranteed against the loathsome undead. Hang them from the eaves and you'll be safe. The women seemed sceptical at the promise, but they paused long enough to take a good look. Behind them and over the heads of the rest of the patrons, Gothghul Hollow's houses rose crooked and cramped, slate roofs shining with moisture. Talismans hung from every eave and wards were carved upon every door. There was a dart of movement from one of the crooked alleyways and Peter flinched. Despite himself, the latest tales of the beast had made him jumpy. Only it wasn't the hound of the moors, but a boy who darted between their stalls like a geist. "Hey you, get back here! Why, you thieving little—" Oscar's shout trailed into a grumble, but he made no effort to chase the boy, who stopped and looked back, grinning as he dangled a small amulet from his fingers. He hung it around his neck and dared a wink. Oscar shook his fist in the boy's direction, but Peter could see the glint of amusement in his eyes. "Do you ever make a profit, Oscar?" he asked, somewhat offended by the other trader's easy-going approach to theft. He didn't wait for an answer, knowing he wouldn't get one. Oscar usually lost a few of the smaller and weaker talismans every market day. The children knew he'd never chased them. Peter turned back to his customers, and a broad grin crossed his face as one of the women exclaimed over his ornamental blood roses. "My own design," he murmured with a self-effacing little shrug. "If you catch it in the light at the right angle, you will see the amber itself has been engraved with a prayer to Nagash for health and wealth." He gestured for one of the women to pick up the item. She tilted it into the light from the glow lamp standing on a tall pole behind the stall. Not only was the item exquisite, but black-petalled roses suspended in clear honeyed amber, but it was also well made. "You have a refined taste, madam," the trader began, but then a long, ululating howl drifted towards them on the strengthening wind. It came from north of the small town, from the moors beyond the broken graveyard, out past the old gibbet where the younger children played. Eldanor, an aged wandering elf who had settled in the hollow years before and sold exotic goods, let the melancholy tune he had been playing on his bone flute screech to a halt, the last note skirling high and wild. The dozens of shoppers froze, as pale and lifeless as the gargoyles on the temple roof or the statues of the god of death that stood sentinel at each corner of the town. There was a long, pregnant pause, and then the cramped marketplace erupted into noise and motion. And we'll leave it there. Hopefully that has given you a nice little introduction to the themes and the feel of the novel. If you're interested, please do check out a copy. It is published on the 5th of February. Cheers! I can't stop it.